The dreaming means our identity as people, the cultural teaching and everything that's a part of our lives here, you know? It's the understanding of what we have around us. Merv Penrith, Elder. Walaga Lake, 1996. Within the Aboriginal Australians' history, the Dreamtime, also known as Alchingera, is a common phenomenon shared by the Indigenous people of the land. The Dreamtime serves as a way to explain the history and origins of the people, as well as the land. Dreaming stories are meant to pass on important knowledge, cultural values, and belief systems to the future generations. It is believed that every person exists externally within the dreaming, making this an essential part of one's life. The dreaming sets out the structures of society, the rules for social behavior, and the ceremonies performed in order to maintain the life of the land. Essentially, the dream time was the law of the land, and those who did not obey the law were punished. The myths come in many forms, from song and dance to painting and storytelling, and it helps the Indigenous Australians retain the connection to the land, along with creating a harmonious community that follows a strict set of rules and regulations. Derived from stories and myths of creation, the dreaming dominates all spiritual and natural aspects of Aboriginal life. During the dreaming, ancestral spirits came down to Earth in order to create all forms of life on the planet, including humans, animals, and the nature surrounding them. Dreaming stories vary throughout Australia, and there are different versions on the same theme. For example, the story of how the birds got their color is different in New South Wales and in Western Australia. Many different themes or topics covered in the dreaming stories, and it plays a pertinent part in the Indigenous community. It is a complex network of knowledge, faith, and practices that derives from stories of creation. It pervades and informs all spiritual and physical aspects of an Indigenous Australian's life. One important figure in the Dreamtime is the rainbow serpent. It is represented as a large snake-like figure, and in the dreaming, the serpent is always associated with water and waterways. It has also been commonly found in rock art, which can be dated back to 6,000 years ago. The Aboriginal Australians view the rainbow serpent as a protector of the land and the source of all life. However, if not respected properly, it can turn into a menacing force, making it a powerful symbol of the creative and destructive power of nature. In Aboriginal mythology, the Wandjina were cloud and rain gods, who during the dreamtime created or influenced the landscape and its inhabitants. When they found the place, they would die. They painted their images on cave walls and entered a nearby waterhole. To this day, the people repaint these images to ensure the continuity of the entity's presence. Annual repainting of the images is another way for the people to bring about monsoon rains. The paintings are typically colored black, red, and yellow on a white background and have been seen depicted with the rainbow serpent and other items, such as yams. The paintings commonly have large upper bodies and heads and also lacking a mouth. The two explanations for this is that the gods are so powerful they do not require speech, and if that they did have mouths, their reign would remain forever. The Wandjina can punish those who break the law with floods, lightning, and cyclones. The paintings are still believed to possess these powers, and therefore are to be approached and treated respectfully. Aboriginal men and women are united in a common purpose, which is the maintenance of society in accordance with the Dreamtime Law. They may have different distinguishing features of their spirituality and within the ritual realm, but are bonded by their shared belief in the Dreamtime experience. Women are considered to be the nurturers of the people and country, while men focus more on stressing their creative power within their rituals. Men and women vary within their rituals. However, men's roles and perceptions have been documented more often, while women's are less known. The shared set of beliefs that bond the two sexes is essential, but the way each sex chooses to go about their rituals is determined by their perceptions of their role and their contribution to society. In the women's daily lives and rituals, they tend to project themselves as independent individuals, not as male-dominated, as some early anthropologists have characterized them. Kawberry was one of the women to shut down the notion of women being excluded from religious life. She proved that just like men, women were betrothed in accordance to customary laws, involved in conflict resolution and ceremonies surrounding death and grieving, and were knowledgeable and sustained responsibilities within the dreaming. They possess totems, have spiritual affiliations with the sacred past, and perform their own sacred rites in which men are excluded. Her findings undermine those who previously disregarded Aboriginal women within the spiritual realm. One of the oldest forms of sacred geography tying into the dreaming are the sacred sites of Aboriginal Australia. Due to the belief of the ancestral spirits creating the land, it's thought that the bodies of the ancestors created hills, boulders, lakes, and other distinguishing land features. Two of the most popular Australian sites would be the Uluru and Kata Tjuta, more commonly known as Ayers Rock and the Olgas. These places became sacred sites via the distinctive landscape features, giving them great importance and meaning to all Indigenous people. The most prominent and well-known sacred sites to Aboriginal Australians are the massive rock formations of Uluru and Kata Tjuta. They are located in the center of Australia, and Uluru was actually discovered to be part of a much larger underground rock formation, which includes Kata Tjuta. The sandstone rock of Uluru is actually gray, but is covered with a distinctive red iron oxide coating, with 36 domes of Kata Tjuta are a harder type of granite, composed of quartz and feldspar. According to Aboriginal myth passed down from generation to generation, the Uluru and Kata Tjuta are physical evidence of accomplishments made by their ancestors during the creation of the Dreamtime. The direct descendants of these ancestors are considered to be the Aboriginal tribe Anangu. This makes them responsible for the protection and management of the sacred land. This area is a place rich in mythology and associations with the dreaming, making it extremely prominent to the Aboriginals. These two distinctive features are the main attraction of Uluru Kata Tjuta National Park, which is partly owned by the Anangu tribe. The national park attracts tourists from all over the world who come to admire these Aboriginal sacred sites. The ochre-colored rock formations, Kata Tjuta, tend to be more popular than Uluru, and there are a variety of trails available for tourists to walk along and view the sites. By Aboriginal tradition only, certain elderly males may climb the rock, but despite this tradition, the Australian government allows tourists to make the climb using a metal chain installed in 1964. Unfortunately, there have been many deaths surrounding this installation. The local Anangu tribe also requests that some parts of the site remain unphotographed. This is mainly for the gender-related sacred places due to reasons of traditional belief. The Anangu take enormous pride in their The Anangu people take enormous pride in their culture and do not appreciate people climbing the sacred sites because it has great spiritual significance to them. In fact, the visitor guide states, "Please don't climb Uluru." What visitors call the climb is the traditional route taken by the ancestral Mala men upon their arrival at Uluru. The climb is not prohibited, but it has great spiritual significance for us, and we prefer that as a guest on Anangu land, you will choose to respect our law by not climbing. Aboriginal people widely believe that the disruption of the power surrounding religious places or sites cause serious illness to their spirits. It is extremely important to the health of an individual that they keep their spirit protected. This is probably a main reason as to why the Anangu tribe prefer tourists to not climb the sacred sites of the national park, as it may disrupt their spirit and bring illness upon them. In Aboriginal Australia, the flora is a fundamental part of the landscape. It provides and allows the people with the means for making food, medicine, narcotics, ceremonial objects, and many more. Plants are heavily featured in Aboriginal religious beliefs as well as their myths. The landscape is an essential part of the continuation of Indigenous practices and beliefs and is considered sacred within itself. In Aboriginal Australia, the swift and inexplicable onset of serious illness was generally attributed to supernatural reasons. A main belief is that the protection of one's spirit is important to that individual's health. Bad cold dreaming is one example of a place where serious colds may originate from. It is a tradition of the Garianman people who live in the Victoria River area in the Northern Territory. In desert Aboriginal communities, individuals who suffer from hunger and thirst are considered to have a hot heart, which can be cooled by drinking water, another vital part of the landscape. There are many things that tie the Indigenous people to the lands to which they hold so sacred. The dreaming, Wandjina paintings, and the fundamental landscape features are just a few examples of this. They all connect the Aboriginal Australians back to the land, making every feature of their earth important in just about every way of their life.